I'm thinking I have two topics, a little bit switching theme now.
Okay.
And one topic we could explore is more detail around driving innovation and even research. I mean, like you're having now post-growth studies coming in. Do you have a real focus on this? I know Peltarion, you have your fair or pair.
Yeah, pair.
You don't have fair, you have pair.
But Google has stolen that name. I'm really annoyed. They also have a pair team. Which is,
they should have GARE, right?
No, yeah. But Facebook has
Peltarion AI research. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, so talking about how is SEB thinking about the research, right? In Scania, in Vattenfall, of course, we have R&D. How does that work in the bank? This is one topic. The other topic I really want to do, I want to get a little bit geeky on the tech stack. In how do you think about the tech stack for your 10 data scientists, and how do they actually interact with IT and data platform? This is a huge topic for a lot of companies to understand. Should we do it on-prem? Should we do it on cloud? We say we get started, but what are you actually using, right? So those are two favorite topics of mine, and you can choose. Or you can choose, Sala.
Yes, Sala. How do you get industries or companies like SEB to invest more in research? I mean,
you
have
start,
PhD students.
You gave it there.
Yeah.
You got that.
So let's explore research.
Okay,
I know.
we start with research.
I fought a lot for that in Spotify, and it wasn't easy. And how did you? Was it an easy journey, so to speak, in SEB to get that working, or?
Do you do research? Do you see yourself that you have research? I think you have.
Yes.
But can you sell it like that internally?
I've chosen not to.
Sorry.
I do it a bit guerrilla style. No, but so.
We are outing you now.
Yeah. I'm not the research and development department of SEB. What we do is that we have a lot of master's thesis students that do interesting things for us, like the federated recommender engine idea. And we've had a lot of students over the years, very talented individuals. I think it's always super fun to work with them because they come with a very different sort of angle on things. Yeah. And it's also for us to be able to explore areas that we haven't done before. Then we have, we have 2 industrial PhD students in the bank right now. One of them works on the trading floor and is working on improving our execution algorithms for our clients using reinforcement learning. And the other one is my PhD student. And he is looking at detecting anomalies in financial transaction data using topological data analysis and some sort of topological abstract ideas in order to be able to do something with the data. So we have the master's thesis students, and then we have the industrial PhD students. And now we're looking into adding even more sort of collaborations with more senior academic researchers. So I'm co-supervisor with one person, and the other PhD student has co-supervisors at KTH. But we also have a lot of other areas that we want to explore. And the VASP, Wallenberg AI Autonomous Systems and Software Program.
And don't forget AI, they added AI.
Wallenberg AI Autonomous Systems and Software Program.
VISP?
No. It's still
IVISP?
It's still VASP.
IVASP?
It's still VASP. Yes. Okay. It's just, I know. It doesn't,
Sorry.
So that very much gives us the opportunity to explore different kinds of things that we want to do together with academic researchers. And I think a lot of the guest professors and a lot of the lecturers that have been hired in the program have very interesting profiles for us. And hopefully we can like convince them that things that we want to look into can be interesting for them as well.
But would you say this is now a little bit more structured, that we need to do AI research? We need to better understand where this could be going in the next couple of years. So typically sometimes innovation is hard in a large corporate because what's your ROI in the first year? We're kind of working on a different time horizon here. So do you think that has that changed, or is this because I really feel like you're going in this direction, and I think it's fantastic, the only way to do it. But is it more guerrilla right now?
Yeah, it's way more guerrilla. I think it's like, I mean, we have people that are passionate about research in the bank, and it's sort of connecting arms and sort of doing stuff a little bit on the side in order to Yeah, I mean, the best part about the PhD students is that they're so good. And it's so much fun to talk to them. And it's like, it gives us so much inspiration. And then I don't know that we would be able to have like 20 PhD students in our organization as it is now. I think we need to mature into that.
Yeah. So, but how did you sell, or maybe that was not the sell, Peltorion starting pair? Was that from the beginning or quite early?
Peltorion has had the luxury of always being interested in research.
Yes.
And the founder is a professor. And we had professor in the board. And
this is different style CEO.
So I think that's not the normal kind of company, perhaps.
I guess not.
But it was a challenge in Spotify. And when I left, I think they removed basically anything of the research groups and whatnot. So it is kind of sad. And everything moved to New York. And it's like, I think it's super important to try to promote industrial research in general.
Yes. And if you look at the big, if we try to learn of the top, if we want to close the AI divide, maybe we should take a look at the top, what they're doing and how they're thinking. And maybe we could learn something, hint, hint, who is publishing the most papers, who is sort of doing the brain drain in here. Yeah. So there's something they're doing right. Yeah. By putting investments, how many %? 5? Yeah. 10?
Yeah.
Geez, if you get 5%, that would be awesome.
I mean, like imagine any company. And this comes natural to the fat man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It comes completely natural. And why doesn't it come natural to us? And we think we're going to sustain this? So please.
I mean, what I'm kind of hoping is that it will become a natural part of even financial services. I think one of the challenges with like doing academic research collaborations is that it's not yet in our DNA.
In the financial industry.
Yeah. I think I was quite surprised coming from math, where what you do probably interests like 2 people. So you could even have like an open Google Doc where you were sort of writing your theorems and proving them because no one cares.
No security breach here.
Yeah. And then you come to financial services where obviously you have the bank law, but you also have like this culture of building things internally to quite a large extent. And it's that's your competitive edge or non-edge.
And this is so far away from open source, from the whole thing. So it's a cultural, clash.
Yeah, it is. And it's a little bit sort of reminiscent of medicine. And I think for me, it's fascinating to see what's happened during the pandemic, where they decided that like they would publish articles without peer review. They decided that they would start sharing data between research groups that normally would be like cutthroat competitors. But now they realized that, okay, we actually need to collaborate with each other in order to create a better world or to create a vaccine so that we can actually
I think that's a super interesting topic, how the pandemic have influenced the research community in different ways. And I'd love to actually speak about that. But okay, so you actually are able to do some research in SEB. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And I hope that can inspire
and maybe guerrilla is the best way to do it. Why not?
Maybe to begin with. I mean, it's not super guerrilla. Our CEO knows that we have these PhD students.
No, but you don't need to or do we need to have another? Do we need to put it in the org chart?
Yeah.
What does that give you in reality? Not so much. Because it's going to be about passion and about the right people, and then virtually organize that and make it happen now.
Yeah, and I think defining like a project and having KPIs and stuff, it doesn't work in research. It needs to be something very different.
Yes.
And especially, I think in AI, I mean, that field is moving so quickly. Fast. So it's different from, I think, most other fields. Yeah. And
but I think the main bottom line here, if we are trying to close the AI divide, we kind of also need to, understand what needs to happen in order to be on the next level. And even if we are not doing it on their level, there's a long way to step up just a little bit. Yeah. And even if we double our R&D investments in typical companies like this, it's peanuts, right? Yeah. Just double it, no problem.
Yeah, stop thinking about the next quarter and start thinking about the next 5 years or something.
Yeah, maybe like that.
And there, I actually think that SEB is pretty cool because I think it is a bit different. I think we sometimes dare to take bets. Like we have this SEBX, which is like a bank in the bank that's using Google Cloud from ax till limpa, as they say in Swedish, from the beginning to the end, and really sort of experimenting.
Put financial data in the cloud then? Or?
Yeah, but it's not SEB data. It's SEBX clients. So it's a company called Uniqlo. So it has nothing to do really with SEB. It's just that it's sort of an
I would
incubator.
be super impressed otherwise. But
But eventually it's a little bit like, okay, we have so much stuff hindering us, so let's set up an experiment on the side. Do a bank, but we do SBX and see what happens. And as a way to learn and maybe bring it over. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's quite sort of, at some stage I was giving a talk about data, and I wanted to talk about like the structure of data and how it's changed from like just simple flat files to knowledge graphs and the next generations after that. And so I looked at the kind of the year that this was sort of invented according to, I think, Wikipedia, because I was bored or lazy, sorry, not bored. And then I looked at the annual reports of the bank for that year and sort of looked at what were we doing within digitization this year. And it's really fascinating to see, because what I also observed that I hadn't thought that I would observe was the continuity. Yes, things changed. Now we have internet bank, and now we have FX trading, and now we have this, and now we have that. But the continuity is always there. It's like it is, and that's probably why I'm still there. It's this very long-term commitment to creating value for the clients, and sometimes allowing employees to do something different to continue that creation and to ensure that we're still relevant. And I think that's quite different when from other companies that I sometimes can observe, where you get
start, stop, project, go.
Yeah. You hire someone, 12 months later, they haven't delivered, so they're gone. And especially in AI research, it takes way more time than 12 months. And if you do that, you're just going to create this, like, I don't think it's going to work very well.
We talk about the prototype graveyard.
Exactly.
I think, and we need to make the pilots go into production, make them fly, all this.
Cool. Speaking about accelerating research, and research takes time sometimes, but at some, when you're put to the corner and have extreme situations like a pandemic, we seems to be able to find ways sometimes. And you can argue a lot about how the research works today, and I guess in some way it's the best we have, but it also certainly has its challenges as well. Thinking about like conferences and time to actually get a publication through the reviewing process, and journals having years of lead times and whatnot. And then we put everything on archive instead, and just have a preprint and ignore the conference. Or what do you think about this? It's like a double-edged sword in some way. You can say, let's fuck it, let's publish it and do blog articles and ignore scientific articles, which would be a negative thing, I guess. But on the other hand, you can't wait like 1.5 years for publication to come through, because then it's old news. Right?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about this? Do you agree that this problem exists, and any thoughts about how to fix it, or can we learn something from the pandemics about this? Or
I think I have a lot of thoughts about this. So in theoretical mathematics, the topics can be quite challenging. So like Andrew Wiles' proof of the Fermat theorem, he created a completely new theory in order to prove that. And there's a couple really, really established researchers whose names now escape me, I'm sorry, who have done really cool stuff, and they're very well established, but then they prove something, or they think they prove something, and then someone else who's also an expert within the field finds like it's actually inequality here, it's not equality.
Jesus Christ.
And that's the level that it's on for theoretical mathematics. So there, I think peer review is absolutely essential.
Yes.
For me, it's been fascinating to come into the machine learning world, where you don't really publish even in journals. It's the conferences where you publish. And I think it was interesting to see the way that ICML tackled the fact that they're getting so overwhelmed by the amount of publications that are submitted, that they sort of made it into different tiers, and now you have a lot of different people and slightly varying levels of sort of actual insights into the field that you start reviewing. And I think for me as a theoretical mathematician, I want it to be right. But at the same time, I think it's really inspiring to see what they do during the pandemic with the medical research reports. An issue there that I feel like I've been observing is that media has not understood what's going on. They still take it as this is probably peer reviewed because it's been published in this fantastic journal, and they need to sort of at least take the time to look. Has this actually been peer reviewed?
Who has checked this for real?
Yeah. Or how many patients were used in the study. And then, I mean, even with common sense, you can understand that if it's 20 patients, the relevance of this is very small. Yes, it could potentially be an indication.
Great news.
Yeah. And I hope that the researchers who published that they do that because they found something small and they want other people to also pick up on that and continue on it.
But it becomes really skewed when a media picks up on that way too early to draw any conclusions on it.
Yeah. And I think it creates sort of, I mean, I'm a lover of science, and I think that science is it's the best way we have to explore reality, because it's not feelings. It's actually scientifically validated empirically or in closed form that at least for these 100 people, this works. And for me, that's better than having a feeling that maybe some, I don't know, bleach. Sorry, I should not. Yes, that's my personal opinion.
I love it. Continue. Be personal. We love it.
But so I think like the understanding of what the different publications are absolutely crucial. And I think that media has a big role to play there, to be like, maybe not even report about this, or when they report, be very clear. It's 20 people. It doesn't have any scientific value as of now, but it could be important for other teams to pick up on, or continue.
It takes us on a path to continue like that.
I think the pandemic have so many interesting, will have a big impact, not only on the society for, medical and economical purposes, but also I think on scientific reasons. And what I mean with that is, for one, we can't go to conferences anymore.
Yep.
And we have to meet online. And perhaps actually that's a positive thing, that we can have conferences that isn't super expensive to go to, or we can meet more often, and we can easily... it's cheaper to meet someone at the conference when you don't have to travel to US perhaps to do so, and we can have them more frequently, or you just publish an archive in a preprint. So do you think it will be a positive impact of the pandemic, so to speak, on the science community, or will it actually have a negative? Because you spoke about a large number of negative aspects of not having a proper peer review process, or too small experiments being performed and whatnot. So it can be both.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, ICML was $100 per person this year, and that was fantastic.
That's quite different, right?
Yeah. Plus, they had the best NLP algorithm ever. I have so many fun screenshots of nonsense. So if you wanted to, because I had to have it texted because I sit in like an open office, and then it was impossible to follow without the sound, because it was like, loads of offensive words showed up. I can show you afterwards.
Right. They had some work to do.
Yeah. No, but I think, so the positive thing is that it increases the globalization in the sense that you can go to conferences that are in completely different parts of the world. But I also think that it's not the same to not meet in person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And have you published anything out of SCB? Any of the work done that is sort of being published, or that you have an ambition? Maybe these PhD students now potentially will publish something on this, right?
Yeah. The PhD students will definitely publish. The master's thesis students, of course, publish their theses
locally.
And we had last year a master's thesis student who did so many cool things that we're sort of still trying to nudge her to publish, because it was really sort of
it was good stuff.
She
master's thesis. Super cool.
She was done with what we had told her to do in probably mid-April. So she had like a month and a half left, and then she found this new article, and then she was like, I want to try implementing this, and then she did, and it was like super insanely good. Yeah.